Alright guys, we're here with this Colonial two blade jackknife here. A little clamshell design. I got the rest of it in the house. Had the little plastic clamshells on it. We're just gonna try to clean this thing up, put it back together, and put this oak here I split at work. Some oak wood here. Got the grain going the proper way here, so just gonna hit it with this little wire wheel, clean up some of this little bit of rust there that didn't come off. I took this to work and put it in a shaker for a little while. I didn't want to leave it in there too long, but we're just gonna hit the rest of this with the wire wheel. Got all the major rust off. We're gonna start working on shaping up this oak here, get it where we can fit it on here as a scale. So on the outer liners here, we got these little tabs sticking up. I don't know if you can see that. They're kind of raised up. It's gonna be in the way of our wood handle. I think I'm gonna take the Dremel and just grind those things smooth so our wood will lay flat on there. This would have been where the clamshell would have clipped in, and then it would have bent it to the recess here where it would have laid flat on the inside of the knife there. But we're gonna grind those off, I think. We're gonna use these bigger holes here for our pins, I believe, to hold our scales on. I could have probably beat these things flat, but I was worried about it deforming the liner there. So we still got metal present, and it's flush right there for the most part. All right, got our wood split here. Got our handle pieces laid on there, or our outside liners here. I think we've selected a piece, a little mark on it. Whack this off here. Show you what we got. Got everything clamped down. We're gonna come to these inside holes here. It's gonna be where we put our scale material on at. This is drilled here. I just put a little dot on this with a Sharpie right here to mark which piece of wood goes with which liner. So one dot, one dot. Also got these arrows here to mark which side the back spring pin will be in, the center pin there. So we got one dot on that, two dot on that, boom. We got us 4 pins cut here. We're gonna clean the ends up, get them nice and clean, whatever. So we would chop them off, they're kind of rough. Clean them up, kind of chamfer the edge there a little bit. So we're just test fitting the pins here to make sure they fit. Fits pretty good. We'll just take it over here and thin it down a little. All right, y'all, got one done now. That's what we're gonna go with. All right, guys, trimmed our pins down there. Flattened them out on the grinder on both sides. Probably got a little too much, but we're gonna go with that and see what happens. We can always grind some away if we got to, but we're gonna pin these over right here, connect both of these pieces. All right, guys, that's what we got so far. Tried to get them the same size right there. One's a tiny bit bigger than the other one, but I think it'll be all right. Could grind down slightly. the side here. We're going to grind these down as flat as we can get them without messing up our liner here. Alright guys, that's one side peened and cleaned up slightly. We'll do this other one here and we'll be ready to drill some holes and start putting this thing together, hopefully. We'll see what happens. Alright, got it spun around. We're going to do our other hole here on the end. And we'll just have one more for the spring or whatever in the middle. Here goes nothing. Couple little metal curls there. Barely though. Did kind of graze it. Nice and slow. Almost there. Alright. Alright, now for our center hole here, which will hold the back spring part of it, the center of it. See what happens. Ooh, barely any metal on that one. The tiniest of little curl come off that. Nice and slow, nice and slow. I think we're through. Oh yeah. And that might have worked out nice. All right, finally got our 3 holes drilled on this scale here. They look a bit rough for sure. Looks a bit rough. This is really my first time actually taking a pocket knife apart completely and totally redoing it, I guess. Not totally, but you know, slightly modifying and putting new handles on there. So I've made fixed blade knives before and a couple friction folders, but I don't know. We'll see how it turns out, I guess. That's what we got. We drilled our holes last time. I went ahead and just did a dry run on it. I didn't think I would be able to get everything clear enough on camera, assembling it back again, doing this dry run, but everything went together pretty smooth there. This main blade, it's got a slight half stop there. A little bit of opening snap. I may end up swapping these springs around, see how that works out, but kind of thick for now, like a Swiss Army knife or something with nothing in it. But that's what we got so far on the dry run there. Secondary blade here. Thin this thing down. I'm gonna take it apart again and engrave my name on the inside, my little stamp gig or whatever, and we'll try to get it on film putting this thing back together before we peen everything down. But yeah, that's what we got so far, guys. First one here, not too bad, I guess. All right, we got our little engraving going on there. Red Shadow Blades, K. Mitchell, 2024. Alright, so before we get ready to assemble this, I'm going to go ahead and thin the handle material out some. I'll just pop one of the scales off so I don't get them mixed up. I'm going to grind this maybe a little less than half of what it is now, maybe half. Put it on, I'm going to take the other side off and do it. All right, just gonna put this thing together here right quick. Springs aren't very strong at all. I just put it together with my bare hands, so probably not gonna be a whole lot of snapping going on when we're done, but who knows. I got some pieces of soup can or whatever, canned vegetable can, and I got it stuck in between that center liner. I don't know if you could see that good, but I got all of these stuck in between the center liner. Right here where the blades meet. I'm thinking about putting another one between the other side of this blade and this liner here. So we'll have 4 all together, one in between the blade and liner in all spots. I just think that may help with like snap, you know, not getting it too tight. Clipped our pins down. I'm gonna file them flat and start painting. Start with this center pin here. All right, guys, we pinned everything down there. Everything's pretty even for the most part, it looks like. Yeah, there's still not a lot of snap to it. There was way more before I pinned it. I think that's gonna be like a common thing there, so I can get that figured out with the spacing and everything. Maybe a little oil will help. I'm not sure. The springs wasn't that strong in the first place, so I don't know, guys. We're gonna buff this thing up on the belt sander here, thin the handle down slightly, smooth these heads up a little bit. We'll get back with you. Alright, guys, back with a little pocket knife project here. We've pinned everything and sanded everything flush. I'm gonna go ahead and hand sand this just a little bit around these ends here. I didn't want to hit it with the belt sander. I was worried about nicking on the blades or something, you know. But we'll hand sand these ends here, smooth them on out. And I have this stain right here. I tested on a piece yesterday when we started this. I think that's gonna look pretty good right there. I might hit it a couple times, hit it 2 or 3 times, and give it that nice darker coat. But I think that's what we're gonna go with right there. But all right, guys, so we did end up staining this thing a little bit. It didn't do much. I sanded it down, but it left it in all the low spots right there, all the little pores. I sanded this knife down originally. I think I got it too smooth, clogged all the pores up with sawdust, and the stain's not wanting to soak in like I want it to. But I kind of like that look right there. It's got little splotchy little dots. You can see the grain layers anyway. Kind of cool. We're gonna end up sharpening this thing up, dusting it down, and putting some oil on it. Alright, guys, we're gonna try to sharpen it down just a little bit. I'm not gonna go for any razor blade sharpness or anything like that. I'm just gonna get a nice cutting, working edge, shape it up. Very light on this. Very light. I'm just knocking that burr off. There was a dip in the blade kind of right here. So we kind of just sharpened that thing on down and got it flat. Kind of see that edge there. Well, I thought I was recording on this main blade here, sharpening it. I didn't press record though. I turned the camera on and was setting up and kind of just got carried away and started sharpening. We quit sharpening it. You can see right here, kind of. There's a slight nick in it where something hit it from the other side and it kind of took a chunk out of it. I didn't want to keep sharpening that down flat. There was more of a belly right here kind of to the blade when we started. I didn't want to get that in too thin right there. I wanted to leave that original shape, but we did end up working the very edge of our sharpening system or whatever we got there, and we got a little edge on it there. Still got this wave to it here, slight chip, but it's got a good edge all the way down it pretty much. Not the best sharpener, I'll admit it. Working on it. I think this other one turned out better here. Smaller blade, it's a more even grind on it, or what you want to call it. Trusty olive oil here. Get some oil on that handle. I'm just gonna let this soak in here. Run it back and forth. Should have rinsed out some of that grit, sanding grit, sharpening grit, all that stuff. Oh man, that might get some snap back there. I sure hope so. Oh man, that feels so much better. Uh-oh. Oh man, so much better. Still a little stiff. Gotta watch it now. Got a little edge on these things. Alright, I'm trying to see if it's got any snap. Very little. Got a little opening snap there. Alright, I think we could live with that. Alright guys, we oiled everything and sharpened it down. That's what we got right there. I could say I'm pretty satisfied with it. Turned out better than I was expecting. Slight bit of gapping here and there. Nothing really major though. Things pop open now. Pretty solid right there, not a lot of blade wiggle. The main blade didn't want to snap as much, but good enough. Better than I expected, so